Hi there and welcome. These are your handover videos for your 2024 Bailey Unicorn Cabrera. These are a basic walkthrough on how to set up and operate the caravan as if you were coming on or off site. So starting off first, we have your black kit shed here with silver lever, which you have to have pulled up like that to wind down the jockey wheel onto the tow ball. It will then snap down, push up that red button and expose green ring. You have your breakaway cable just here. Now, if you have an eye point, legality states it has to be used, if not, wrapped around the tow bar. You have a gas strut handbrake. Now, with regards to these, always make sure you give it a final little click back, as you'll hear the first initial click, but just make sure you give it an extra tug so that it doesn't roll back. The caravan is fitted with 13-pin electric, so if you do have 7-pin adaptation in your tow vehicle, make sure you bring yourself an adapter. If you do have 7-pin, you may lose a couple of features such as Alco ATC. You then have your jockey wheel, which is used to level the caravan, and this little black handle to pull up the jockey wheel whilst you're travelling. Now, on a Bailey, this will sit on the outside. Then, 2 points either side and 2 points at the back, we have inserts for your legs. Now, the caravan itself will come with a leg winder, or you can get yourself a 19mm drill bit and a power drill just to make it that bit quicker. However, do not attempt to jack up or level the caravan using your legs. They are simply used for stabilisation. Moving along this side, first up, we have your insert for your mains. Plugs in nice and easy. And then just here, we have your inlet for your water. Now, this is on a whale pump, so all you do is press it in, press down the top a little bit, and it will click it into place. If you try and remove it without flicking that up, you will just break the plastic. Just next to it, we have your flue. Your flue is used to get clean air in and out of your boiler when operating on gas. Don't have to do anything with this except make sure it's nice, clean and tidy. Then next to it, we have your gas locker. Now, I'm using test equipment, so I have a propane Cala gas bottle with an in-date gas hose. Now, this gas hose is dated 2025. Black gas hoses will run for 5 years. That connects onto this regulator just here. Hand tighten that as much as you physically can, and then just nip it up using a spanner. You don't want it ridiculously tight, as it will put pressure on the washer that's inside of the actual hose, which can cause it to crack and break. Once both sides are firmly put on, twist the gas bottle in the positive or open direction. You then have your motor mover, which will be gone over on collection. Then lastly, we have your toilet function. So first up, this is where your wastewater will come out of. You'll need some 28.5mm waste pipes to then feed into a waste master that you can empty out at the appropriate point on site. Then your cassette. To remove it, up on the handle, pull out just like so. Now, this handle does also extend out and up, so it can be used similar to a carry-on suitcase. Once you're at the emptying point on site, what you want to do is twist this head to the side, open up that cap. You want to tilt, and at the same time as tilting, continually press in that vent button. Now, what I would recommend is opening up this compartment afterwards, feeding in some fresh water, shutting it all back up, giving it a shake, and again tilting and venting. Then on this cap here, you have measurements in both imperial and metric, and that is via blue chemical. Blue chemical goes into there, back on, twist it to the side, and then press it in so the orange handle sits behind those white teeth, as then it can't be removed. Above, we have your flush tank. Flush tank has a capacity to hold 12 litres of water. However, I wouldn't recommend putting in any more than 10, as you don't want to overfill it. You can also add a bit of pink chemical, which works as a bleach without being corrosive and makes it smell a bit nicer. Now, you don't want to travel with either of these two full, so just to the side, little bung to drain off any remaining water in the system. The caravan itself will be fully drained off when you collect it. We're not pushing water through today, as it is too cold and it's already been fully drained off. Then, situated underneath your right hand side seat, you have first your boiler here, and then just behind it you have that yellow switch valve. When it's facing in the upright position, that is in drain mode, which is how you'll collect it. November to March, have that up permanently unless you're actively using the caravan, and anytime you come off site, make sure that it's up to drain it off. When you want to use for water though, flick it down horizontal either way. Underneath your seats here, you have your brain box for your motor mover and also your ignition point. And then underneath your fridge, you have all of your trips and fuses. All your trips in the upright position and all your fuses at the correct position. I would always recommend to carry some extras across the van with you. And just here we have your main control panel. So you have your on and off button just here. Internal lights, it's done with this button. Awning light, press that in, go into the outside and you can see that's on there. And then you have your water pump button. Now, what you would have is you'd have your drain valve in the correct position and you'd have your water pump, which is this here, connected to the outside. Press this in, press down the cap as showed outside, locks it into place. You have this white cap to go over the top of the act roll to ensure no nastiness gets in. And then at the bottom we have your strainer. Now it's crucial that the strainer sits at the bottom of the barrel to allow the maximum potential of water to come through. So you'd have all of that set up, press in your water pump button, come over to your tap, open it on both hot and cold, and what you're looking for is a nice steady continuous stream. Now if you haven't used the caravan in a while, it may be a case that the system is pressurised, so you'll get a couple of coughs and splutters. However, that is normal. Just allow it to come through and just make sure it's nice and steady. If there's continued coughs and splutters, make sure your drains valve's in the correct position and that the water pump is sitting at the bottom of the barrel. Then we have the voltage for the battery, so showing full right now. However, as we're plugged into mains, that is going to be distorted. When you don't have mains in, it will show you the amount. If the battery ever gets below, I'd say the second mark, get it replaced. You want it to be the top two green ones realistically. So super simple to use. On, internal light, awning light, water pump. Then just here we have your outer control panel. So turning on using that button, you'll know the panel is on because it will have that light there. This is your home screen, which shows the internal temperature being 6.5 degrees. Press menu and it gives me some additional settings just here, which I can scroll through. We have set this to what we believe is the most user friendly to use. However, if you'd like to alter it in any way, please have a look inside your book pack. To be honest, a lot of it is self-explanatory, such as calibrations and night modes, but we have just set it to the easiest way. So you can see at the top, it shows a mains lead plugged in. First up, we'll press inside. So indoor, this is the temperature that I want. At the top, it shows what it currently is, which is 7 degrees internal. And I can go up to a maximum of 30 by pressing and holding, or I can go to as low as 5 degrees, whatever I want. And it will take around about 2 hours to get to temperature, dependent on the weather as well. With it being worse weather at the moment, it's going to take it a little bit longer. You then have your hot water, which you can press in. You can either have that off, on, which will get the water temperature to about 40 degrees, or boost. Now boost will prioritise heating the water over heating the van, as you can see, for 30 minutes. After those 30 minutes, it will then drop it back down to on. Then you have your energy source. So you can either use 1, 2 or 3 kilowatt of electric, or gas, or a mixture of both. If you are using gas though, I would recommend to check through all of your hob grill and oven to make sure that the gas is getting pulled through correctly. Now, with regards to this, it is a case that you can also have priority, load monitoring and a high altitude mode, but that's only for over 1,000 meters. Now that panel will naturally fade off if not interacted with in a few minutes. However, that green light will stay on continuously. To show you that it's off, no more green light, does its shutdown setting, and you can see if I press menu or the screen, it's now off. And just here we have your toilet operation. So lift up your lid, do what needs to be done, press in this button, and you can hear that faint whir of a motor. That is what will push around any water in the system. To remove the waste, press away on the handle, opens up the catch inside, then pull it back towards you to shut it up. When you need to remove the cassette, there'll be a red light there to tell you when it's full. Then we have your hob, grill and oven operation. So all of this operates on gas minus the electric plate. For the electric plate, spin it to whatever mark and it will get to temperature. Everything else, press in on the dial, twist it to the side and press your igniter. Maybe a case that these will light up and then cut off. That is natural, that is the gas making its way through its system. So this is what it looks like when they're all lit. As you can see, all burners nice and lit. Turn it off, back to the central position. And it's the same concept for your grill. As you can see, grill all nice and lit. And finally, your oven. So let's see if I can do this with one hand. And there you can see your oven all nice and lit there as well. Only other real thing to note, if you're travelling with gas bottles, you can have the hose connected to the regulator, but make sure that the bottle itself is turned off. You also have to have this glass sheet down when travelling, but don't put it down until all of these are nice and cold. Then we have your fridge operation. So to turn this on, press and hold in on this button. It will flash up and go to its most recent memory, which in this case is gas. There'll be some lights on inside the fridge to show you that it's on. To first change the setting for what you'd like as a source, you press and hold in on this middle square button. You can either have gas, that A symbol which represents auto, so it'll automatically switch to what it thinks is the best source to use, mains, or that battery symbol which is only representative of your 13-pin electric whilst towing. If I were to select that, I would have a hazard. So let's go for auto. Then we have the amount of power coming into the fridge. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. 5 being the most powerful, so it's going to chill it the quickest. To select, press in. So auto has chose mains on full capacity. Now you'll see in a second that this will fade off, so it doesn't disturb you in your sleep. There you go. However, a little blue light there to signify the fridge is on. Now, if you ever do shut down the caravan, as in turn off there, it may be a case that the fridge will stay on. So always make sure that once you finish with the fridge, press and hold in, turn it off, no more lights inside, it's completely off.